So, Muhammad, if I had to use one word to describe him, it would be funny. And then that second word would be outgoing. And then the third word would be adventurous. He was the drummer in the band. He was always
Great dancer.
the dancer, the entertainer. So he was always the one in
Life
the
of the
front.
party. He was the life of
Absolutely.
the party.
You felt like a superstar when you was with him because he always got that attention, and I'm not that person. So like, you know, and I remember growing up, like I used to have to think if girls was really my friend or they were just my friend so they could meet my brother. You know, he filled in the gaps of where like we completed each other as sister and brother, meaning he filled in the gaps of the areas that weren't comfortable for me.
He loved people, poetry, music. He liked working on his red Jeep. He loved cars. He loved martial arts.
Yes.
He loved learning and spirituality, meditation. He loved learning about other cultures. He also loved family, especially being around like his nieces and nephews and stuff. He loved his nieces and nephews. They looked up to him too.
I think I've been down here a little too long.
To me!
With both my parents passing away at a young age, he was that person that I knew he was going to be there for me as a brother, to walk me down the aisle, to just protect me. My 8th grade graduation, his energetic self comes in. Everybody's like, "Who's that?" Who is that? And I was like, "That's my brother." I didn't know you had a brother. That's my brother.
He was at the community center off of like 51st Avenue in Campbell, and he went to use the bathroom, and he had his service dog with him. And when he entered the library, someone felt uncomfortable with his presence in the library as an unsheltered person with a dog. And they called the local authorities or the police department and kind of blocked his path into the bathroom when the police came. He was very respectful to the police officer. He was very respectful to the management at the community center, but that didn't stop them from trying to look for an opportunity to harass him in a sense. They let him in to the bathroom, and when he came out, the police were ready to arrest him and assault him. You know, they had multiple police officers who basically brutalized him, slammed him on a car, slammed him on the concrete, put their knee in his neck, another one his knee in his back, held him down where he couldn't breathe, and he's saying, "I can't breathe," on the concrete while other officers are observing this, and no one is doing anything. And Muhammad was probably about 145, 150 pound, 5'4" on a good day, maybe 5, person with these officers that were very large, and you have someone screaming out in pain saying, "I can't breathe." So as a family member to hear that your loved one is screaming out in pain and continuously asking, "Why are you doing this to me? What did I do? Why are you doing this to me?" To this day, it is still very, very traumatizing. One of the things that really got a lot of attention was the fact that while Muhammad was screaming out for God's help, you know, one of the police officers said, you know, "Allah, well, he can't help you now." I ran to the location where I knew that it happened, and of course the police wouldn't speak to me. No one would speak to me. No one would tell me where he was. That was my biggest question, like, where is he? Where did you take him? I just wanted answers, immediate, and you don't know when you're in that situation what to do, who to reach out to, who to call, because the people who you would think that you would call was the very people that brutalized and murdered him. When he finally did get to the funeral home director said basically that for lack of better words, that they filleted him. I had the wherewithal enough to find out that you were able to get a recording of the actual exam, right? So I did, at that time, request that recording, and then I was able to provide that later on to my attorney. Of course, I would never watch it, but I did. And I know that they were able to hire someone to do an independent, and it actually came back as not, as they initially tried to say, that it was like physical exertion, cardiac arrest, but it was actually something called positional asphyxiation, which basically means that they had him against the concrete and that he was not able to breathe.
And that was evident when we went to bury him. He had road rash all over his face. I don't know if you remember, but they took so long to release his body and did not respect his religious practices, because when you practice Islam, there's a certain way that you have to be buried, and I believe that was communicated to them from the funeral home, and they didn't even try to release his body on time. And so we had challenges with even trying to figure out how we were going to do services and still not go against his practices. And it almost felt like they stole his identity then.
It's like being re-victimized.
Over and over and over again.
And he shared with me some of his dreams and hopes was that, he would eventually be able to reconnect his relationship with his children, with his son, who was a young adult at that time, and be able to have some stability so that we can, he used to call us orphans, so that we and Zarina, so that we can really connect and be able to do those family things together. Someone needed to speak up, and that's how I've been pushed into advocacy and activism in a sense, right?
But I hope that with me being out there and being a voice, and her being out there and being a voice, that it fuels future generations to not be so ignorant to what's going on around them. What we can do is try to help those who are experiencing it, and it's those families that may experience it down the line that, I want to be there for, she wants to be there for, to kind of change those policies, so that hopefully it makes a change, and also hold the city officials accountable for their actions.
One of the things that I'm challenged with is that my children were very close with Muhammad, right? Their uncle. My grandchildren know who he was. And I've seen the trauma that is generational trauma, in that now they have a serious fear of the police. So it's not just the action that happened, it's the generations that follow in how they relate with individuals that they've been told and that the media has said is there to protect them, that they have a true and honest fear of the police. And it's nothing that I can do but to say right now, until we have any policy changes, then that fear is legitimate. And coming into this Family Justice Collective has educated me so that I can educate others, and that we can work together, because we all come with different skill sets in order to make change. Right, whether that's one of the things in supporting any families with the Family Bill of Rights, which we're putting on the table and we're hoping to get passed. This has never been a club that I thought that I would be in, having lost a family member to police violence, but it's one that I know at this point in my life that I need to stay in, so that we can try to work together in order to prevent other families from having to go through this pain.